Hey everyone, Ambakana here. Welcome to Property Development System, and this is a course on property development financial feasibility. But before we actually go any further, I know that there are going to be a lot of people who are just starting out and who would want to understand where everything fits and how everything comes together. So I've just included this really short overview of the property development process, and it's not like the ones that you've seen before. It's a little bit different, and it is only just touching on what the full property development process is and what is it all about. So if you keep going, property development or real estate development is a business process encompassing activities that range from the renovation and re-release of existing buildings to the purchase of raw land and the sale of developed land or parcels to others. So this is a definition from Wikipedia, but in a nutshell, real estate development is the process of adding value to real estate, but achieving certain tasks that require special skills and additional capital. And the people who perform these tasks and lead the teams are called property developers or real estate developers. So in essence, real estate developers are actually entrepreneurs. And anybody who thinks that property development doesn't require you to be entrepreneurial, you have to think twice, because it does require you to be very creative with what you do. And a developer is no different than a person who understands how all the different pieces come together, what are the things that they need to do, and then makes it work together. So let's keep going. So in property development, for example, we start from land banking or land packaging. I think the first one is that it's land banking. So it's like a full circle. A property actually goes through the full circle over a period of time and is eventually available to be redeveloped at a later date. When it's lived its course, the building has lived its course, and then again, because of the demand of that area, or the redevelopment of that area, it comes up again to be redeveloped. So you've got land banking. We all know what that is, and I'll briefly touch on each one of them. Land packaging is nothing. It's basically, it means that you've gone and got some development approvals, or you've gone and got a planning permit or a DA or any kind of permits that you need that add value to the land. The next step is the land development, or the building side of it, the building operations and management. Once the building is ready, there are things that fall under this, which is, for example, property management rights, body corporate. All those things are related to the building operations and management side of it. And it is actually a field, and a specialized field in itself. And a lot of developers have this kind of business on the side. And then once the property over a period of time has worn out, lived its life, it either goes into renovation or it gets redeveloped. So if you look at all these things, we've got stage one, which is land banking, and land banking or the land bankers, they acquire or hold developed or raw land that they believe will become attractive for future development through general and broad market trends. Stage two involves land packaging or getting a development approval, which is what we discussed previously. So getting an approval or getting a planning permit, it involves proactively improving the value of the land through conceptual land planning, zoning changes, financing schemes, or other paper enhancements or infrastructure. Like title insurance or accurate surveys or environmental studies. So all these things fall under the land packaging side of things. Stage three is the land development, where the land developers buy the land with the paper infrastructure from the land packagers, and then improve the land, typically with the horizontal infrastructure. So it can be sold as finished building to other and passed on to the building operators for the next stage. Building operators are the parties who retain management rights. They lease up the completed properties, they manage the properties, and develop accurate operating histories. So the completed properties can be sold to other building operators during their economic lives, or sold to building renovators at the end of their economic lives. Stage five is renovation stage. where people who are involved in renovating, they buy the property with substantial economic and or physical depreciation, and then create value by curing these deficiencies and then selling the renovated properties to other building operators or operating the building until the properties are ready for the next redevelopment stage. And number 6 is then it's again becomes available for a knockdown rebuild, or it gets available to be able to rezone, or then something else gets built on it. Property development. Now, all of these activities, everything that we see here, everything that we've got over here, we've got to remember that all of these involve a whole lot of different activities that have to take place for you to be able to execute each one of these strategies. And these activities can be summed up in a section in all these 10 different things that you got to do. You got to do a market analysis. You got to do your due diligence. You got to conduct a financial feasibility. You got to get the land finance. You got to acquire the land. You got to deal with all the environmental issues. You got to get your permit or development approval. You got to then make all the physical improvements to the building. You got to sell it, market it, and disposition or settlement. So after you've sold it, or you keep it, or you then again go back into the management side of things. So these are all the different activities that are required for each one of these, no matter which strategy you pick up. So whether you become a land banker, yes, you will have to do your market analysis, you will have to do your due diligence, you will have to do your financial feasibility, you will have to acquire it and make sure that you don't come across all these environmental issues. And depending upon what you want to do, if you don't go ahead and get a permit and you just hold and sit on it and then flick it after a few years, that's fine. That's just you all you get is an organic growth, but you can manufacture that growth by getting a permit or a DA where the value of that land is now worth more than what it was when it didn't have a permit. And so all of these things happen no matter where in the property development activities you get into. You still have to do all of these in all of these activities. And as we move forward, each of these activities would present its own risk and uncertainties. And with every step that you keep taking towards completing your development, and you start coming down all of these 10 steps, you'll see that your risk and uncertainty will start to diminish as you keep going from step 1 to step 1 to step 2 to step 3. And I've actually used this entire system, this entire process and this logic to actually build my entire system so that you are actually trying to reduce, minimize, or mitigate or avoid risk at every step as you keep going in your property development journey. So, and also with each step as we keep going, you will notice that additional capital would be required, additional capital at every step. So say, for example, you went on to the next step, additional capital would have a lower cost as we keep moving forward, because the value of the land is improving as we keep moving forward. So value is added by creating a new product, and value is created by incurring more risk and by increasing capital exposure.